Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, those who are here with us physically and those who are joining online. Good morning as well to those who are viewing online. This morning, we're gathered to have a press briefing in relation to the Integrity Commission report into the statutory declaration of the Prime Minister. Indeed, there are several findings within the report that we'd like to speak to this morning. And first up, you will hear from the leader of the party, Member of Parliament, Mark Golding.
Good morning, members of the media, those who are listening online. The Integrity Commission's report that was tabled this Tuesday in the
recording in progress
in the House of Representatives. It's in fact two reports. There's an investigation report, which is a lengthy document, 171 pages long, and that is a report that was produced by the Director of Investigations of the Integrity Commission. And there's also a special report, which is a short one-page document coming from the commissioners themselves. And that latter report calls upon Parliament to support the recommendation of the Director of Investigations in the investigation report that matters arising from the report be referred to the Financial Investigations Division, the FID. The Integrity Commission's report makes the important point that as Prime Minister and Head of Government, Mr. Andrew Holness has a higher duty to the public to ensure that the laws of Jamaica are maintained and that he acts in keeping with the standards of principled behavior required of his very high office. I'm sad to say, and I take no glee in saying this, that Mr. Holness has failed in this solemn duty to the Jamaican people. He has known since May 2023 that he was under investigation for illicit enrichment, which is a corruption offense created by Section 14(5) of the Corruption Prevention Act. Yes, Mr. Holness is one of the illicit 6, now the illicit 8, and he has known this for well over a year. Yet Mr. Holness misled the country by withholding the truth about this investigation in statements that he made both in and outside Parliament over this period, even telling Jamaica that he had asked far and wide, and none of his MPs were under investigation for illicit enrichment. This extended withholding of the truth, this fundamentally dishonest deception of the people of Jamaica obliterates any trust and confidence in the Prime Minister. How can we believe anything he says in light of the extended failure to tell us the truth that he was indeed under investigation for a serious criminal offense? This unprecedented situation is fundamentally incompatible with his continuing to hold office as Prime Minister. The Integrity Commission's report contains several serious findings which reinforce the need for Mr. Holness to go now. I will mention 3 of these. Firstly, there is the purchase of an investment for $94,000 US, using as part of the money that was put up to buy this investment, $32,000 US from a registered charity of which Mr. Holness is a director, called the Positive Jamaica Foundation, commingled with resources from his personal company, Imperium, including $30,000 from an account that he had with SSL. Yes, SSL. Mr. Holness reported this investment for several years as 100% belonging to his company, Imperium, when the charity's money had been used to acquire it as well as his own. Indeed, a third of the money came from the charity. One can only wonder how local and international donors to that charity feel about its resources being used to enrich Mr. Holness personally. Secondly, the filing of nil returns by Mr. Holness's personal companies, nil tax returns, indicating that they had no taxable income or expenses when the companies did in fact have substantial income and expenses, is a matter which the Integrity Commission suggests would be a significant violation under Jamaica's tax laws and should be referred to the Commissioner General of Tax Administration, Jamaica, for action. Indeed, the payments between Mr. Holness's personal companies over the review period exceeded $400 million. Then there's the creation of a situation of conflict of interest by Mr. Holness appointing his business partner and co-investor in his personal real estate company, Mr. Norman Brown, to be chairman of two important public bodies, the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, and the Housing Association of Jamaica, HAJ, both of which fall under Mr. Holness's portfolio responsibility as minister, and both of which operate in the real estate. Holness has placed Jamaica, our beloved country, and our cherished democracy in a dangerous and untenable situation. His integrity issues cannot be resolved, partly because of the baffling complexity of his personal financial affairs. He operated no less than 28 bank accounts, 28. His three personal companies were involved in a very high volume of transactions, averaging over 4 per banking day during the period of review, including many substantial intercompany payments, and including over $4.5 million of so-called cardless cash deposits made over a 3-month period into his bank account by depositors whose identity remains unknown to the Commission. And partly, the matter is unresolved because Mr. Holness's own refusal to provide information about aspects of his affairs, which was requested by the Integrity Commission for the purposes of their investigation. The Prime Minister therefore remains the subject of an incomplete investigation for illicit enrichment, as the Integrity Commission has been unable to conclude its investigation, in part because of Mr. Holness refusing to provide them with critical information that they need to do so. The Integrity Commission has recommended that the case be referred to the Financial Investigations Division, the FID, which specializes in financial crimes, including money laundering, and with which the Integrity Commission has an active Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, for mutual cooperation, which is provided for in Section 7, subsection 12 of the Integrity Commission Act, and also by an equivalent provision in the FID Act as well. This is recommended so that further investigation can get to the bottom of his affairs. And the Integrity Commission has also made it clear that Mr. Holness's statutory declarations cannot and will not be certified as required by law until the investigations have been concluded. So, Jamaica has a Prime Minister, who remains under investigation for the serious corruption offense of illicit enrichment and whose annual statutory declarations for 2021 onwards still cannot be certified by the country's Integrity Commission as required by law. This is a serious blot on the country's image, both locally and internationally. It is untenable for our Prime Minister not to be in good standing with the country's Integrity Commission. We cannot go on like this. The Prime Minister must step aside now or call fresh elections so that the people have the chance to elect a new government that can take our country out of this mess. Finally, it is important to dispel the deliberate falsehood that is being perpetrated in some circles of the Integrity Commission being motivated by political bias. While the developmental work on the legislation that created the Integrity Commission was done prior to 2016, the Integrity Commission Act was reviewed and then passed into law by this JLP government. The commissioners of the Integrity Commission were appointed under this JLP government, and Mr. Holness himself had an important role in their appointment. The staff of the Integrity Commission were all employed under this JLP government. The record shows that the Integrity Commission has taken action against delinquent representatives from both political parties. This scurrilous suggestion that the Integrity Commission is motivated by political bias must therefore be rejected for the malignant mischief that it is. The Integrity Commission is a critical institution in the governance of our country. A country which is seriously afflicted by the scourge of corruption at the highest levels. The Integrity Commission must be nurtured and supported so that it can do its anti-corruption work without fear or favor. The continuing attempts to discredit, weaken, undermine, or intimidate the Integrity Commission, its commissioners and staff must be condemned and resolutely resisted by all well-thinking Jamaicans. I just want to close briefly by saying, in relation to the incident that we heard about through the news last night concerning the Holnesses and their home, that we absolutely abhor any such conduct. We call upon the security forces, law enforcement, to investigate it thoroughly, and if there are any perpetrators, to bring them to justice. And I want to extend my personal sympathies to Mr. and Mrs. Holness and their family. Thank you. I'll now ask Senator Donna Scott Montley to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. I want to continue from where the Leader of Opposition left and to say to the Holness family that we all were very concerned about the reports, as unclear as they are, about the need for the multiple police to turn up at residence. We in Jamaica are very concerned that our democratic traditions be protected, and there should be no attempt to threaten the Prime Minister nor his family. Our condemnation is strong, and we trust that all the perpetrators will quickly be brought to justice. Now let me say that today is not a day that we celebrate.